Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution, the radio program where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers, hiring. And as always, we begin with a prayer. Dear God, grant us thy peace and thy mercy, thy will be done. Well, first of all, Happy New Year to everybody. It's going to be a good year. Things are, the economy is good, and God bless us in Texas. We think it's going to last be this way for a while. So we are blessed. I want to bring up a subject that is a bit of a sore subject, not a very exciting subject, not a subject that is, oh my God, goodness, what a revelation that is. And it has to do with picking up the phone and calling people when you say you are going to. One of the biggest challenges that we have as recruiters, and after about a year in this business, you get used to it, is that hiring authorities, especially clients, we call them, will tell you, I'm going to call you, or I'm going to call your candidate, or I'm going to call, period, and then they don't do it. They tell candidates all the time, well, we'll get back to you. I had an employer one time that told nine candidates in a row that they were perfect for the job and that he was going to call them and hire them. He got fired 3 days later. It's very hard for me to understand, and it always has been, why people say, I'm going to call you, or we're going to call you, or we are going to be in touch, especially if you're a candidate in the interviewing process, and then never call them. I try to explain to people when I work with them that I'm only going to call them when I necessarily need to. They're welcome to call me if they catch me, that's great, but I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to return everybody's call. Where this is most important and most serious is when a candidate gets in the loop with a hiring organization and they get, say, beyond the first or second interview, and a hiring authority will tell them, or an interviewing authority will tell them, we'll call you, we'll give you a call. Well, the candidate doesn't get a call, so the candidate calls the hiring authority or calls the interviewing authority, and then they never hear back. Doesn't pick up the phone, and the hiring authority or the interviewing authority doesn't pick up the phone and give them a call, doesn't send them an email, nothing. Now, if you've ever been a candidate, you know that looking for a job is a emotionally stressful thing to do. Nobody likes to be rejected, and we all understand that. We know that we're going to go through being rejected when we go to look for a job. But I've never quite understood why it is that people will tell people, we'll give you a call in an encouraging way, and then not do it. We'd be better off to just say, look, we're going to call back the people that we're interested in interviewing further. If you don't hear from us, it means that we may very well have found somebody that's better. But to simply just not call somebody when you say you're going to, and never return a call when you say that you will return calls, really hurts. And I know it's rude, and it's like Teilhard de Chardin said, we are spiritual beings acting human. So I'm not criticizing. I'm not saying people shouldn't do. Heck, there are lots of things I shouldn't do that I do. But when it comes to a candidate in an interviewing cycle, if people tell them you're going to call them, call them. Look, no is the second best answer a candidate can get. Yes is the best one, but no is the second best one, because at least you know where you stand. But to tell candidates that you're going to be in touch with them, or you're going to give them a call, or say, give me a call and I'll give you an update, and then you don't return the call, you just leave them languishing there. And with it hurts. And it's just not very nice. Not a criticism, an observation. I had an employer or a candidate, not an employer, a few years ago. I presented this wonderful candidate to him, and the candidate was absolutely perfect for the job. And he pauses when he hears about the candidate. And he says, Tony, I wouldn't hire that guy on a bet. And I said, oh, why? He said, well, a few years ago, the shoe was on the other foot, and I was a candidate. I interviewed with the guy, and he told me he was very interested in me, and I'd hear from the company, and I never did. I called him half dozen times, never even bothered to pick up the phone and call me and tell me that he wasn't interested, just nothing. So I wouldn't hire him on a bet. If he was the last candidate on earth, I wouldn't hire him because of the way that he treated me. Now, it doesn't work that way all the time, but there is an old saying, what goes around comes around. So it's not hard to pick up the phone and call somebody, send them an email, let them know where they stand, especially if they're not going to be considered. But to not return a call, or at least tell them where they're at or what the situation is, you can do it. And what I say here isn't going to keep somebody from doing that, but it would be just a little more thoughtful and a little more kind. Treat other people the way you would want to be treated. Return a call. If you can't be in a position to return calls, just tell people I don't return calls every time, all the time. At least they know where they're at. All right, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. This is Tony Bashara with the Job Search Solution.